Well, let me know if you can hear. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay. All right. Give me a yes if you can hear me. All right. Hold on. Okay. Give me a second here. Let me hit a button real quick. All right. Hold on for a second, guys. Stay right there. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Sometimes you have technical difficulties, and I hope y'all can forgive me for that. Anyway, all right. So let's get it cracking. Let's jump into this. This is gonna be a fun conversation because this is just something I've been wanting to talk about for a long time that I haven't really been able to address, and I'm gonna be petty for about 35 to 40 minutes. Give me a yes if it's okay if I'm petty for 35 to 40 minutes. Let me know if it's okay if I do that because I think sometimes you have to sort of jump in and respond to certain things that just simply aren't true. And I'm going to do that for you guys. And if you can give me 1 second, I have one more audio issue I want to fix. Hold on for 1 second. Let me see here. Hold on. I'm looking at my mic. Hold on. You guys can see me, right? Okay. All right, there we go. There we go. Now I'm back. All right. So this is the result of me running literally probably the most bootleg studio ever known to man. I am definitely not some fancy guy that's got some massive expensive layout. I have something that is very simple that actually works for us because we focus on the substance over the flash. All right, so let's hop into this conversation. Let me tell you guys what I want to talk about that I really think is worth discussing. It has to do with this person. Now, let me know if you guys are getting an echo. If you get an echo, are you getting an echo? Let me know if you get an echo. Hold on. All right. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me okay. If I'm coming through all right. If not, I can make an adjustment. All right. I'm gonna look for you guys to tell me yes, it's coming. A slight echo. Okay. Yeah, I hear the slight echo too. So give me a second. Let me try this. All right. Hopefully that sounds good. Hopefully that sounds better. So forgive me for the technical difficulties. It kind of sucks to have the technical difficulties when I'm really about to go into something that I think is going to be fun to talk about. But either way, though, thank you for your patience. And I'm going to systematically address some interesting things that I've seen on the internet that I think are worth talking about. And so y'all can please clown me for my ghetto setup because it's definitely ghetto. And I'm not a tech guy. I told you guys I always mess that stuff up all the time. But let me hop into this. Let me jump into this conversation and tell you guys what I want to sort of speak on. There's a person that I used to work with years ago, a person that I work closely with that I used to help out a lot. I let her use my YouTube channel free of charge for many years. Some of you learned about her for the first time on my platform. And her name was Yvette Carnell. And Yvette Carnell is a person who has done some interesting work with something called the ADOS movement. In case you don't know, the ADOS movement was something that was largely driven by something that I fundamentally agree with, which is that Black people deserve reparations. Now, how many of you agree with me that Black people deserve reparations? If we deserve reparations, give me a yes in the chat if you think that Black people deserve reparations. Yvette Carnell is a person who also feels that way, and that's one thing that I think we can rally around. We can start the conversation there. And this ADOS movement was extremely it had a lot of momentum. I'm proud to say that I played some part in helping to get that started. When Yvette came in, she didn't really have much of a platform. She came in and she asked me to share her articles. That's how I met her. I didn't reach out to her. She reached out to me, and she said, "Dr. Watkins, can you share my article?" And I said, "Sure." And here was the thing. So we never really agreed politically. We were not on the same page ideologically, but we were, but I'm always a believer in diversity of thought. I've expressed to you guys extensively that it's very important that we speak to people that we disagree with, right? So, for example, I'm not a Marxist, but I can sit here and I can give you some reasons why I think Marxism has some very good ideas, very good critiques of capitalism. I'm not a communist, but I can also tell you that I think that some communist ideas are pretty good, or socialist, or etc. I think that America needs more socialism because capitalism has been harmful to the world. Now, here's the thing. Now, Trucker says you don't have the brain power to go at Yvette. She will slaughter you. Well, that's a good point. Maybe she will. Maybe I'm slaughter worthy. I'm not even sitting here trying. I'm not making this. This ain't no nigga beef. This ain't no hip hop battle. This is not, like I'm gonna dish you harder than you dish me. I'm not. I don't do that, right? I'm a grown man. I'm not a kid. So maybe she will slaughter me, and I hope that she does. I really hope that she slaughters me because I'm not any more important than anybody else in this room. I'm not any more important than anybody in here. And I know that there's some people who love the internet fights. They love the craziness and the chaos. And you guys know that I'm a person who would prefer to be your friend than your enemy. And I will say this, that whatever extent to which Yvette comes in, I'm sure Yvette will do a video. I encourage her to do as many videos as possible. Just take note of this. I had a guy named Corey Holcomb who had a lot to say about me, and I said some stuff about him, and I shared my piece, he shared his, and then we just agreed as men. We talked privately and agreed to squash the beef. We agreed to get online and talk about it and do something that you don't see a lot happening very often in the Black community. You don't see people saying, "Let's get together and let's see if we can be friends. Let's see if we can find common ground," right? And so my goal is not to just sort of come in and beat up on a woman. I mean, that's inappropriate anyway. That's not cool. Like, you shouldn't do that kind of thing. And then believe me, if I wanted to go and just be messy, I could have been messy years ago. I've got receipts on things that you have no idea of. I know how much money I paid Yvette Carnell over the years, tens of thousands of dollars. She never paid me anything. I know that I let her use my YouTube channel for free. There's nobody out here. Go find somebody who's got 400,000 subscribers who will let other people use their channel for free. Can y'all give me a yes or no? Do you know a single person on the internet who has 400,000 subscribers who will let other people use their channel for free? That's what I did for Yvette. And I did that not because I agreed with her. A lot of her ideas I didn't agree with, but because I believe in diversity of perspective. I believe that it's good to have, I believe that it's good to have different points of view so you can learn from all perspectives, right? Unfortunately, this is not popular in the Black community. Unfortunately, you have what I call the nigga net, where there are people who have YouTube channels. They don't have much money. They live in their mama's basements and stuff, and they make money by beefing and attacking and attacking and attacking and attacking each other all the time. And that's just, to me, not very beneficial to the community. It's not very mature. And some of these people are as old as 40, 50 years old. And I personally think that that's not a good example for young people. So let me just start the conversation with that. Now, as far as Yvette Carnell goes, my goal is to simply, I know that she had some things to say about my friendship with Jay Morrison. Jay Morrison is a guy who runs the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Yvette has spent a lot of years, literally years, going, and really saying a lot about Jay Morrison, saying a lot about the Tulsa Fund, saying a lot about, him being a fraud and a crook, and it's just a lot of things, right? Now, again, my position has been very, very simple. When you have a business dispute, there's a way you handle business disputes. If you have a business dispute, you could take things to court. You can call the authorities. From what I understand, there was a full SEC investigation into the Morrison Fund. Now, by the way, the fund, if it struggles financially, you do know that y'all do understand that when a Black man, especially one with a criminal record, has to defend himself with the feds, it's going to cost millions, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to do that. Y'all do understand that just the mere scrutiny, just the mere racial profiling of a Black-owned business can destroy the business. Do y'all get that? Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. So I'm not sitting here saying that the Tulsa Fund was perfect. I'm not sitting here saying Jay Morrison's perfect. I don't know. I just know him as a friend. I know that I invested in the Tulsa Fund. I'm happy with my investment because I love the crown jewel. The crown jewel of the investment was the Black House down in Atlanta. It's a beautiful building. Most people that have negative things to say about, say, Jay Morrison have never built a building for Black people. They've never raised millions of dollars for Black people. They've never done anything significant other than talk on their YouTube channel or try to get people to donate to their GoFundMe account. And if you wanted to just sort of be petty about it, you could say, well, you're asking people to give you money in exchange for nothing. What are they getting? They're getting your content. Well, that's anybody can talk on YouTube, right? So when if I want to call someone a scam for having an investment that doesn't make as much money as we thought, maybe my investment goes from $1,000 to $800, then that would mean that if I am asking you to give to my GoFundMe, that means if you give me $1,000, I'm giving you nothing back. That's a negative 100% ROI. That's the worst investment imaginable because that's charity. That's just, giving money and you giving me nothing back except a bunch of talking, right? So if you really want to talk about scamming, I don't know. Give me a yes if you follow what I'm saying. If I really wanted to be nasty and say, oh, you're scamming people, well, what's the bigger scam than to ask people to give you money where you're giving them nothing in return? Like what if Jay Morrison did that? What if Jay Morrison said, invest in the Tulsa Fund and I'll give you $0 back, right? I'll give you nothing back. I'll do an Umar Johnson with you and you'll donate to a school that will never be built. That's where I think it's a slippery slope for us to just start getting into the whole idea that because your business did not work out or because I don't like the way you do business or whatever, that you're automatically a scammer. I think that that's a little bit problematic. I think that those who, again, there are pretty much really two categories of people that might be critical of the Tulsa Fund. One would be those who invested and then those who didn't invest. And typically what's interesting is that the people who don't want to support are the ones who do the most talking. The ones who didn't put a nickel into it are the ones who are the professional trolls. I call them the Negro naysayers. The Negro naysayers are people who find a problem for every solution. The Negro naysayers are the people who find any Black person trying to do something positive and they nitpick. You ain't right. You ain't doing that right. I don't like that. You a scammer. You doing that. You doing that. Black people can't build nothing. Black people. But yet that same person, that same Negro naysayer, they won't typically go after white people. Maybe they'll go after white Republicans because the Democratic Party gives them permission to do that. Maybe they'll go after a couple of white people just to try to make a point. But the majority of their attacks, give me a yes if you know people like this, the majority of their attacks are on other Black people who are close to them. They're kind of like gangbangers. They're like intellectual gangbangers. I'm going to roll up on anybody in my community that I think is even trying to do something. Excuse me. And I'm going to pick apart every little thing that they do. And I'm going to pick it apart so bad that I'm going to destroy every single thing that's happening in that space. Right. And so for example, you can say what you can say what you want about me, right? You can talk about me all day. You can talk about the fact that I did declare bankruptcy a long time ago. You can talk about the fact that I had a credit score in the toilet. I was born in poverty. I messed up. I made mistakes. But you can't say I haven't tried. You can't say that I'm not. You can. If you're going to point out the bad, you should point out the good too, right? You could say, well, Dr. Watkins has done 22,000 videos sharing his PhD with as many Black people as possible to help Black people in our wealth journey as much as we can go. And the Black Business School, you can actually join the Black Business School for free. You can get in for free. You can get in for free. You can't get everything for free. And the reason you can't get everything for free is because you can't run a business on free. Give me a yes if you follow what I'm saying. You can't run a business on free. And I have to address the whole Negro naysayer culture a little bit because a lot of y'all are in that same situation. A lot of you are, Black entrepreneurs who are dealing with Negro naysayers, sometimes in your own family, who literally nitpick the shit out of everything you do, who literally point out every mistake you make, everything you do. And they don't say, you made a mistake, brother. Let me help you out. Let me help you do better. They don't do that. They come in and say, you're a fraud, you're a scammer, you're a loser. And so what does that mean? Does that mean I'm supposed to go work for white people like you? Does that mean I'm supposed to go and be on there, be on every video talking about cash at me, put money in my GoFundMe. I need you to put money in my GoFundMe because he's a scammer, but I'm not scamming you. I'm taking your money and giving you nothing back, but I'm not a scammer. I'm righteous. He's a scammer though because he ran a business and the business made mistakes. I think that mindset is, Horrible. I think it's crazy. I've mentioned with the Tulsa Fund. Now, here's the thing: Yvette did a video where she says she does. This is a political dirty trick that they do in politics. I want y'all to notice this. In politics, what they try to do is what they call guilty by association. And what they do, and this is a deliberate strategy. Yvette is a very experienced. I spent a lot of time working with her. I worked very closely with her for many years. She's extremely experienced in the games of politics. Democrats and Republicans do this. Like the Democrats did this to Ice Cube when he tried to challenge the Republicans and Democrats to pay reparations. What they'll do is they associate you with things that are toxic and then say he's associated with the toxic thing, therefore he must be toxic also. So what Yvette is now is was seeking to do is saying that Dr. Boyce Watkins was going around telling people to invest in the Tulsa Fund, and that's what makes him as bad as whatever, right? Now, mind you, first off, I'm going to say this: I have been an investor in the Tulsa Fund. I don't regret it because I like supporting Black businesses. I like seeing Black people at least try, even if you fail. I like to see you try because at least we can say we tried. Because if we don't try, then that means your only option is to go beg for white people for stuff or beg the government for stuff. And I don't want to see you in that position. But the second thing I'll say is this: how many of you, give me a yes or no, how many of you on this platform have heard me say repeatedly that my goal is not to tell you what to do? How many of y'all have heard me say over and 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 over again that it is not my job to tell you what to do with your life? I am not a paid endorser of the Tulsa Fund nor any other fund out here. I have not, with FTX, Shaq got paid millions of dollars to endorse FTX. I didn't get paid to endorse it. I just said, if you want to know the truth about my experience, I've been to the Black House. The Black House, aka the Legacy Center, is a damn amazing building. Yvette Carnell, with all the yapping she might do, has never built anything like this for Black people. And in fact, one thing that Yvette did that I thought was just horrifically tragic was she took an opportunity with the ADOS movement. There was something. Anybody remember the ADOS movement? Anybody remember ADOS? I was so impressed by what she created with ADOS. She was working with me at the time that she started this. Like she'll never tell you that, she'll never admit to this, but we helped fund her platform Breaking Brown. We gave her like that first opportunity to reach lots of people. A lot of you heard of her for the first time on my channel, and I shared my channel without asking for any money, right? People were offering me money to be on my channel. I said, no, you're my friend. You can use the channel or whatever. I had to cut ties when she started attacking everybody. See, y'all don't understand this. A lot of y'all don't hear this. A lot of y'all don't get a chance to be in my world. I've dealt with people where you might meet them and they have no platform at all. Nobody knows who they are. And then they get a little bit of internet fame. Or a little bit of niggernet fame. They suddenly get a couple of followers and fans. And, and at first I'm like, that's great. Wow, people are asking for your autograph. People know who you are. Good for you. And then the ego starts kicking in. And then you give them this powerful thing and they start using it as a weapon. I'm going to go and beat the shit out of every person that I have a beef with. I'm going to use this power that I've been given, this blessing, and I'm going to beat the hell out of everybody I possibly can. I'm going to attack everybody. And unfortunately, that was, in my opinion, what Yvette did. Yvette, I did pay her some money. I paid her money because she had trouble paying the bills, and we made an agreement, and I paid her every penny that I owed her according to the agreement. And what was really interesting to me was she was then saying, he didn't pay me enough to pay my bills. How am I going to pay my rent with the money you pay me? I'm like, who said it was my job to pay your rent? Did I ever agree at any point, Yvette? Yvette, and you can call me. You always have my number. I've always told you can call me. You're just scared to talk to me directly on the phone. That's your problem. That's cowardice. But seriously, I mean, you're such a strong young man. Whatever you claim to be. If you're that strong, then talk to me on the phone. Because here's the thing, that lady has had my number for years, and I called her and I said, "What is going on? What are you so angry about? Why are you angry at everybody?" And if you go to the channel and you just sort of look at the energy on the channel, the energy is angry energy. Every other day, it's like you're pissed off at somebody, you're mad at something or someone, or you're criticizing someone or someone. I had to part ways because she was attacking Farrakhan. And I was like, what you got against Farrakhan? I get it if you want to respectfully disagree with Farrakhan. That's cool. But to attack him as if he's a worthless piece of crap or whatever, that speaks of like some kind of like really ugly, hyper masculine energy that almost makes me think you're jealous that he has a penis and you don't. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. I was sitting here thinking, why are you so mad at him? Like, is he your long lost father? Like what is going on? And then the attack, and then after I part ways, then there's attack on like Dr. Claude Anderson. Suddenly Dr. Claude Anderson, he's a fraud. He's this, he's that. Why are you, Dr. Claude ain't said nothing to you. Dr. Claude was literally, I was on the phone with him. I had to talk to Farrakhan, and I talked to Farrakhan after Yvette attacked um, the minister. And brothers from the Nation of Islam, as respectful as they are, shout out to the Nation of Islam. This is why I respect y'all so much. These brothers, in the most respectful way imaginable, were reaching out saying, "Hey, Dr. Boyce, we'd like to debate Yvette on the air. Can you set that up?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And I reached out to Yvette and I said, "Hey, the brothers from the Nation would like to debate you on what you said about Farrakhan. Would you like to do that?" And she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it. And one of the things I will say to you is, and again, I'm not. This isn't really just about Yvette Carnell. This is really about the Negro naysayer culture, the petty culture, the immature culture. If you can't defend the words that come out of your mouth, if you're too scared to defend the words that come out of your mouth, then that really speaks to the integrity that lies behind those words. If the fact that that's, and I had a young brother that came on. I invited him on. He was 22 years old, and he laid out his case extremely well, and he was very respectful. But he was really responding to something that we don't talk about a lot in society, which is female aggression. The one thing that we don't discuss is we always act like men are always the aggressors. Give me a yes if you know what I'm talking about. We act like women are always the victim and men are always the aggressors. Like it's always some man who decided to punch a woman, beat her up, attack her, or whatever, and the woman's just like some innocent little damsel in distress who didn't do anything wrong, and that it's that she had no role in the process, and that's just not true. There are some women out here that are just vicious. There are some women out here that cut off the balls of every man within a 100-mile radius. There are women out here that just have some issue with black men, and a lot of them live in the Democratic Party. A lot of them, like that lady, that linebacker, Simone, what's her face? You remember the linebacker who, she's a big old lady that tackled the guy when he tried to come up on stage with Joe Biden. Anybody remember that? And she was on Twitter talking crazy about black men. And this is slavery, y'all. This is Jim Crowism. This is Willie Lynchism. This is something that you've been trained to do for a long time. And so I saw Yvette attacking Farrakhan. Then I saw her attacking Dr. Claude Anderson. Then I saw her attacking Tariq Nasheed. Then I saw her attacking Jay Morrison. And I just said, what's the goal of all these attacks? And one of the things that offended me the most was I was so I was so willing to support the ADOS movement that I literally said, I'll support it. I don't care if you don't like me. A lot of people don't like me. That's all right. You don't have to like me in order for you to love black people. You don't have to like me in order for you to have common ground with me. You don't have to like me as a person for us to say, hey, here's something that we can align on. Let's both support this. So I was willing to support the ADOS movement. But the problem with the ADOS movement is that you had really terrible leadership. You have had really leadership requires people who aren't going to live in the land of petty. Leadership requires people that can focus more on the vision than they focus on the individual. I think that there's a saying that says, was it great minds focus on ideas, mediocre minds focus on events, small minds focus on people. And so really, to some extent, the reason you haven't seen me sort of do this kind of thing is because I'm sitting here saying, okay, let's just focus on the bigger picture. Like let's stop getting into whether or not somebody likes Boyce or likes me or doesn't like me. Let's talk about the bigger picture, right? And Lord knows, though, I participated in my role in the petty too. We all have a temptation to be petty sometimes. I just think Yvette and Tone, and again, Tone is another guy. You can go to my YouTube channel. I used to let him use my channel. I don't know if he's mad that I don't let him use it anymore, but I cut them both. I told them both to go kick rocks. That's what happens sometimes, is that somebody will get used to me being nice to them. They'll get used to me supporting them. And then when I see their toxic behavior, I say, I don't want anything to do with you. And then suddenly this person goes out and says, oh, Boyce is a terrible person. He's a horrible guy. But I encourage those of you who are interested in this, if you were ever interested, Go look at the record. I'm really talking about Yvette Carnell's people, the people that love her, the people that have heard her side of the story for years, because for whatever reason she keeps talking about me a lot, and I encourage her to keep talking about me. That's fine. I mean, that probably helps your YouTube channel, helps you pay some bills, whatever. But I encourage you to go if you're really looking for truth. See, there are people that are looking for truth, and there are people that just don't care about the truth. If you were looking for truth, go back and look at the record. Look at how often she used my YouTube channel. And I want you to ask yourself, how often do you see people with big platforms that are really openly sharing their platforms with other people? I used to do that a lot. And to be honest with you, I stopped doing it because I saw people turn into monsters right before my very eyes. I remember sitting there thinking, people didn't even know who you were just a few months ago, and now suddenly you're going out and you are attacking all these sacred leaders in the community. Like, can't you respectfully disagree? And let me tell y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all a little Farrakhan story. Let me tell you how much of a man Farrakhan is, how much respect I have for him. I went to Farrakhan's house after that whole what we call, what we now refer to as the Yvette Carnell incident, where she decided to attack the minister like on an insane level. I'd never seen it. I didn't watch the whole video. I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos. I don't, and then in fact, when people are attacking me, I don't watch the whole video because I got better things to do than watch YouTube. To be honest with you, but I do see sometimes I'll see a headline or a title. Anyway, after the Yvette Carnell incident, I went to the minister's house. I walked around the corner. He lived around the corner from me in Chicago at the time. I walked to his house and I said, Minister, hey, I just want to apologize for what happened on my YouTube channel. There was no ill intent. Because some people thought that I put her up to it, that I secretly hate the minister, and this is what. No, the thing that happened is I believe in freedom of speech, and I believe that people should have a right to say what they're going to say. But honestly, I've kind of had to calibrate. If you notice, if you go to my Your Black World channel, you'll notice I don't share it with a lot of people anymore, because when people say things, they come back and they say, "Well, Dr. Boyce told you to say that," and I don't do that. I don't tell you guys what to think. I don't tell anybody what to say. And so, anyway, long story short, you know what the minister said? That really, I mean, I was so impressed. He said, not only am I not offended, he said, I want you to encourage her to keep speaking. And that right there really was a moment of clarity for me in terms of the contrast between this wise individual who had enough grace in his heart to encourage his critic to speak, versus somebody who had so much venom and hatred and negativity in her heart that she wanted to destroy a man who never ever said a negative word about her ever once in his life. Never once. Dr. Claude Anderson, Yvette, I need you to hear this, Yvette, if you watch this video. Dr. Claude Anderson has never said a negative thing about you ever once in his life. Now Tariq Nasheed, he's retaliated. Tariq Nasheed has made it into a comedy thing. But I can guarantee you, I know Tariq Nasheed. I know him very well. I've been, Tariq and I have been allies for a long time, even when we don't agree. That's the thing. Just because you have an alliance with somebody doesn't mean you're co-signing on every single thing they did or every single thing that they believe. So Tariq has seen me say things and do things that he did not like, that he did not agree with, but he understands being on code. I have seen him say and do things where I'm like, man, come on, Tariq, what are you doing? Right. But I keep that to myself because I want to be on code. So now Tariq has retaliated. And here's the thing. I believe that if Yvette had a different energy, if Yvette and Tone were different leaders, and if they learned to level up instead of being so vindictive, so venomous, so ready to attack anybody and everybody, they would probably have much more momentum behind their ADOS movement. I have no idea where the movement is. I'm sure white people white liberals and stuff have probably embraced it. Maybe you've spoken at some white universities or whatever. But from what I've gathered, grassroots black people are not rocking with it anymore. And they're not rocking with it anymore because they've looked at the leadership. They've looked at it and said, this movement is being led by a couple of grown ass children. This leadership is being led by 5-year-olds with gray hair. This movement's being led by 50-year-olds on tricycles. Seriously. And so what I would say to you is, you missed an opportunity. You missed a major opportunity to make a difference and to do good for the world. You did. And you did it because your damn ego gets involved and you end up saying stuff that just sounds flat out crazy. Now, what I want to do actually, again, because this is my petty day. You know how in dieting you allow yourself a cheat day? Well, this is my cheat day. I take a diet from Negro naysayers, and I don't want to be eating Negro naysayers up all day long because the calories are bad and it gives you high cholesterol. But this is my cheat day. This is my day where I get a chance to allow myself to look at the comments. I saw that Yvette did her video. Somebody mentioned it. There were lots of comments. Boyce, you ain't shit. Boyce is this, Boyce that. I'd like to address them all if you will allow me to. Will y'all let me have a day where I can just kind of be like direct and honest and I'm gonna try not to be petty. If I get too petty, y'all got to stop me, okay? But I want to try my best to hop in and address the comments, because I really, really kind of think sometimes you need to recalibrate things with truth when there's a lot of just a bunch of nonsense. Okay. So first thing I'm going to say before I go to Yvette's channel, and I'm going to look at the video, I'm going to literally respond directly to your comments. Some of y'all came from her channel to this channel, and I welcome you here. I encourage you to hang out. You don't have to pick sides. But one thing I would also ask you to do is not get to the point where you enjoy the beef so much that you're not looking for the progress. I want to encourage you to understand that as a community, this is the type of energy that's really kept us exactly where we are. This type of behavior is exactly why the world does not respect us. And so when you're listening to people, I encourage you to look at their track record, look at their work. What's actually come out of what they're doing that's made the lives of certain people better. Right? I'm not going to sit here and say I'm perfect. Lord knows I ain't perfect. Lord knows I have messed up on many occasions. And one area I definitely messed up is that one thing I can tell you about myself, just full disclosure. I have a split personality. I don't know if it's because I'm a Gemini or not, but I do have a little bit of a split personality. I've got the kind, supportive Boyce, and then I got the Boyce who just simply does not give a fuck. Right? I'm a traumatized child of a Vietnam veteran. My father, I grew up in poverty. That's traumatic enough. My father was not there. I was born on Father's Day. My father was not there when I was born. My stepfather, who is my actual father, raised me since I was 3. He's a Vietnam veteran who's killed people. So he's a hard motherfucker, right? And as a result of being raised by a hard motherfucker, I have the hard motherfucker in me. I have the part of me where once I see that you're on some bullshit, you understand. And I know I don't. I've been promising you. I've been trying not to cuss so much. I get that. That's what I get. One thing I get from my father. When I see somebody, at first when I meet people, I try my best to connect. I try my best to see where we can connect and reconcile. But once I see you're on some bullshit, I might flip on you. I literally might flip. Like I might go from the guy who was taking every phone call you made to a person who doesn't talk to you anymore. That's what happened with Michi X. In case you ever wonder why Michi X is so mad at me, it's because Michi used to call me and I would take her calls and I'd be like, calm down, Michi. Don't cuss her out, Michi. It's gonna be okay, Michi. I know you're mad, Michi. Right. And then eventually I was like, I don't want to talk to you anymore because you're not I don't think you're a good person. Right. And I don't care what you say about me on the internet. I just don't like how you're treating other people. And so I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Like, just go away. I didn't even say it. I say it in my head. And then I just say, I got other people I want to talk to because I meet a lot of really good people that I really want to support. And this, but the thing is, if you look at a lot of these individuals, most of my biggest critics, this is where I'm also, stupid because most of the people that become my biggest critics are people where if you go back 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they had no platform. I gave them their first platform. I put them out there, right? So to some extent, I'm a little stupid in that way, a little naive in that way, where I have elevated people and then without sort of vetting their character, and the next thing you know, they're turning the gun back on me, right? And this is fine. It's par for the course. It happens. It's life. But one thing I did learn, and I encourage everybody to get a smart Black woman next to you. My wife is a therapist. And now here's what my wife does for me now. My wife literally, she did this with Kwame Brown, actually. She literally can look at people and say, something's not right with that person. They have a mental health issue. Stay away from that person, boys. And now I listen to that. And so ultimately, this is a glimpse into my world. This is just what it is. Now, one thing I'll say, I'm gonna start here in addressing the comments. Now, somebody says you're just as bad as Jay Morrison. Well, I don't know how bad Jay Morrison is. Business Talk with Kay. I don't know what you do with Business Talk with Kay. I hope your business does well. I hope you're doing good things for people. But I will say that if your goal is to kind of have an opinion and not be open-minded, then I'm not really the person for you to talk to. You probably shouldn't be here. You should just take your opinion and just go where you want to go, because I can't really talk to people who make their opinions up before the debate even begins. I can't talk to people who come in and they've already picked a side. I would just encourage you to think through your perspective, because to some extent you've probably been lied to and brainwashed a little bit. If all you've been listening to for the last 4 years is Yvette, 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 and you're brainwashed by Yvette, and Yvette is pimping you and telling you what to think, then I can't really help you. I'm not the guy that, there's nothing, because you're stuck. This is where you are. You need to go and do what the rest of America is doing. Go into your cubby hole, go into your silo, and stick with whatever you believed before you got here. Another person, let me see here. She says, you're rambling, addressing nothing. No, I'm addressing everything, Mrs. Smith, like I'm addressing you, Miss Smith. And so what I'll say to you is, if you want me to address something, just put your question in the chat. I will address you directly, because again, this is my cheat day. This is my petty day, where I'm allowed to address everything. The stuff I normally ignore, I will address it all right now. So let me go to Yvette's channel. I'm gonna go right to Yvette's channel, and I'm gonna look at some of the questions and comments, and I'm going to respond to them directly. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, by the way. Please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe. All right, so let's see here. The only thing I disagree with what Yvette said is he probably didn't know what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. It was a scam from day one. I think they're talking about the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. First of all, I don't know what you mean by what I was doing. I've never been a paid endorser of the Tulsa Fund. Shaquille O'Neal was paid to promote FTX. I was never paid to endorse the Tulsa Fund. I like Jay as a person. I have an obligation to speak on that too, in terms of how things have gone when I've done business with him. I have never had an issue with that. I told you, I've had people that I've dealt with, like Yvette Carnell. I would not endorse an Yvette Carnell because I've done business with Yvette, and I felt hurt. I felt cheated. I felt scammed. I felt harmed. Right? With Jay, I've never felt that way. Right? So I'm not here to say that Jay is a person you should invest with. I'm not here to say that you should be in the Tulsa Fund. Give me a yes if you understand that. Give me a yes if you understand me saying that I am not here to tell you what to do. I've never told you all, oh, go do what I did. Do what I did. I've simply talked about my honest lived experience. I put the money into the Tulsa Fund, and I said to myself, I'm not going to scrutinize a black man more than I would scrutinize a white man. I'm not going to racially profile a black business that might make a few $1,000,000 doing business when I'm not scrutinizing the businesses that are making billions from black people. Do y'all understand that? Or are you just so thick-headed that you can't even consider what I'm saying here? Seriously, I'm not trying to be mean, but seriously, some of y'all just don't really want to hear this. But really think about this. Let's say that it's true. Let's say Yvette Carnell scammed the community by getting, $500,000 from her GoFundMe account. She's collected hundreds of thousands of dollars through the years by telling you to give to her GoFundMe and put money in her Cash App, whatever the hell they do to make money, her and Tone. And they've given nothing back to the black community except a bunch of yapping, except a bunch of content. I give you content for free. We talk for free, right? You've never paid a nickel to come to my YouTube channel, but we do have stuff that we offer, right? I offer you things and I try to give you value, and then you offer, and then if you want to pay me for something, you can do that too, right? I have a PhD in finance. That's a business model. That's called doing business. But would it be right for me to spend my whole life obsessing over the $500,000 or whatever Yvette Carnell has collected by begging for money in her GoFundMe, when there are people out here that have literally grabbed $1 billion bags out of the black community? What sense would it make for me to go after Tone Talks, and say, man, you collected 200. I'm gonna be a pocket watcher. You collected $274,818.19, and none of this money went to the black community. None of this money went to the black. You a scammer. You a scammer. You put their money in you paid your rent, you paid for your baby's mamas, you bought yourself a new bicycle, you bought yourself some ice cream, and you a scammer. Like, would it make sense for me to do that? No, I wouldn't do that. And the reason I wouldn't do that, here's the reason why I wouldn't do that. I'm gonna explain this to you. I wouldn't do it, first of all, because it's a waste of fucking time. It's a waste of time. Everybody's got bills to pay. Everybody's got bills to pay. If somebody's giving you value, like if you enjoy watching Yvette Carnell, and Yvette says, hey, I have bills to pay. Would you like to support that? I'm going to support it. I paid a lot of Yvette's bills myself. I think my assistant sent me a receipt when I said, Yvette's acting like we never paid her nothing. She said, no, you sent her, it was some number like $51,244.18 because she kept track of every penny. Tens of thousands of dollars that I gave her. Maybe it wasn't what she wanted, but I always gave her what I promised. She never gave me a nickel. She never gave me a penny to use my YouTube channel. I had a platform that was reaching millions of people, and I let her use it for free. I would love it. If anybody has a YouTube channel with millions of viewers and you would allow me to use your channel for free, I will give you free content. You do not have to pay me. When AOL Black Voices allowed me to use their platform for free, they did not pay me for at least 8 months. And then eventually they paid me because they saw I was bringing people to their platform. I was helping them make money. Do y'all understand this? If your pastor is giving you healing every Sunday and helping you feel better about your life, why the hell do you got the Negroes that get mad because the pastor got a nice car? Because the pastor live in a nice house. If you're helping me, do you understand? Give me a yes or phone. See, this is what I'm doing. This is how stupid I am. I'm actually supporting Yvette and Tone and their Cash Apps, GoFundMe's, whatever the hell they do. I don't know I don't know their whole business. I don't get it. But what I'm saying to you is if somebody's giving you value, why wouldn't you want to financially support that person? You know, you support white people and they give you nothing. White people don't give you anything, but yet you'll give them your money all day long. Or the same people that will complain about a preacher who gets a couple dollars to buy himself a nice car and a nice house. Those are the same people that will go listen to a fucking comedian and be happy to pay to see the comedy show. One person gave you spiritual healing that helped your soul make it through the week. The other person told you some jokes, and you somehow will pay the person to tell you jokes. But you don't want to pay the person who connected you to your higher self. What in the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Let me keep going. Let me keep answering questions. All right. So let's see here. Let's see. Business Talk with Kay. He says Jay Morrison was not giving value. He was giving valued his pocket. I'm gonna say this. Business K Talk with Kay. I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna ask you a question, brother. How much money did you invest in the Tulsa Fund? How much did you invest, and what was your ROI? And after 3, 4, 5 years, how much did you put in? At Business Talk with Kay, that's his name, and everybody should go follow him. I want to support you because maybe you're jealous because Jay has a following and you don't, brother. We don't have to be jealous of each other. We can help each other out. Business Talk with Kay. What is it that you invested in this fund? Did you invest 500? Did you invest 1,000? And I ask this because I need y'all to understand something here. For many years, I was a shareholder in Disney stock. And as a shareholder in Disney stock, whenever Disney made an investment decision, they would send a note to the shareholders and say, what should we do? Now, mind you, when Disney made investment decisions, they didn't send notes to people who didn't give a shit. They didn't send anything to people who didn't have no skin in the game. They didn't send a note to all the haters that they have. They didn't send a note to the Negro naysayers. They sent the note to the shareholders, those who invested in the company. So I want to ask you this. I want to make sure when you criticize with Jay, whatever, my question to you would be, what have you done to either invest in the company or rectify the problem? Other than get angry because maybe you feel some kind of way when you see another black person that appears to be doing better than you. Now, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Jay's my buddy, but I said when Jay came on this channel and he said something about being swaggy and rich. And my advice to him as his friend was, I said, I don't know if I would use terminology like that. That reminds me of things that rappers will say and stuff like that. Jay's my boy. Jay is he's gonna be my friend for life. I'm loyal like that. Maybe that makes me stupid, but because people that treat me well, I'm not going to stop treating you well just because there are people who don't like you. Okay. But I did know, I feel that sometimes when you do put yourself out there like that, it can cause problems. It's like the Chinese have a saying that says the fattest pig always gets slaughtered. And this is something that we have to address in our culture because the rappers kind of do. Rappers come out and kind of look at me, and then the problem is, so when they look at you, that means a lot of people are pointing that gun at you. Like that movie American Gangster, when he went to the Ali Frazier fight and he had the fur coat and the fur hat, and it made them start taking pictures of him. You got to be thoughtful of that. So a little financial advice for those of you that are wealth builders. I assume most of you want to get ahead economically. When you get your money, be really mindful and careful about who you talk to about how much you have, because not everybody's going to be happy for you. Not everybody's going to want to see you do well. And in the Black community, unfortunately, because there is so few opportunities, because there's such a lack of access to capital, there is a lot of venom that can arise when someone is sort of out there and on top like that. The other challenge with the Tulsa Fund, and this is something that I'm just saying this out loud, and because these are things that I would say to Jay directly, because Jay, again, he's my friend, and he calls me and stuff. Is I was concerned about the fact that a lot of the investors in the Tulsa Fund were not what they call qualified investors or experienced investors. These were not people who understand that not to disrespect the people that invest in the Tulsa Fund. This is not what that is. So I want to make that clear because I don't want anybody to misconstrue the words here. I'm trying to use the right words so that because people are going to do every opportunity they can to kind of twist it around or whatever. But if you put in $500 thinking you're going to flip your 500 into 1,000 within a year, that's not how investing works, people. The way investing works is that sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Investing is like love. Sometimes you date that pretty girl and it works out and you live happily ever after. Sometimes you invest in that woman and she breaks your heart. And that does not make her a terrible person. That does not make her a scammer. That does not make her a rapist. That just means that she didn't want you the way you thought she wanted you, right? So investing, especially when you're talking about a real estate fund at the start of the pandemic, it's really hard to do commercial real estate during the pandemic. It's hard to do it now. Actually, the next big economic bubble that's expected to burst that might put the economy in a recession is the commercial real estate market. The commercial real estate market, according to most experts, is expected to plummet because a lot of commercial real estate investors have not been able to get a good ROI. So, Jay, if the Tulsa Fund isn't making money, which again, I don't know these things. I don't know all the details. I have to be honest with you. So just you could write that down, right? I'm not sitting here. That's why I'm not going to ever tell you to do what I did, because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm such a dummy that, in certain ways where I'll invest, meaning dummy, like emotionally speaking. I'm not a dummy in terms of finance. I have a PhD. It's very real. You can go look it up. If you think I'm pretending to have a PhD, you can find my dissertation on the internet. But one thing I'll say is, I've invested in Black-owned businesses just because I want to give them a chance to be successful. And then I may not even check on the investment later. I gave $3,000 to King Randall's school because I like King Randall and I like the idea of a Black man building a real school that actually really does exist. I did give $25 to Umar School, so that isn't very much. But I gave $3,000 to King Randall School because it was a real school, and I didn't call back and say, where's my return on investment? Negro, what did you do with my money? I need evidence that you're actually delivering. I just did it because I was hoping to see another Black man be successful, and again, I'm not telling everybody to do what I did. I admit I've done stupid things, like, for example, letting Yvette Carnell and Tone use my YouTube channel all those times when they were pretty much using my channel. In my view, I felt they were using my channel to get viewers on their own channel. That's what they were doing. And same thing, Michi X was using my channel to get viewers on her channel. And that's fine. I mean, I don't get in the way of that kind of thing. I want everybody to win. I believe we can all eat. But I think at the same time, I think that there's something to be said about giving each other grace. And I think that overall, if you're going to call Jay a scammer because the Tulsa Fund isn't making as much money as you thought it was going to make, then that makes a lot of people into scammers. That, again, anybody that's got a GoFundMe that's saying, put money in my Cash App or my GoFundMe, and they're giving you nothing back in return. They're taking your money and giving you nothing back. That could be called a scam too. I just don't think it's scammy though. I think that you should support people that you believe in. And I supported the Tulsa Fund because I believe in it. I like that. Have you ever been to the Black House? Has anybody ever actually gone there? Again, this is for open-minded people. The Negro naysayers aren't going to understand this. I know their opinions are going to be made before they even get here, and that's life. But for those of you that are open-minded, I would encourage you to go to the Black House and have that experience. It is a beautiful building. It is something that's going to be here 100 years from now. It makes you feel good to be in that space. It's better than this whole YouTube shit where people make these channels and they just talk shit about each other and pretend like they're doing something. This is real. It's concrete and brick. It's got studios and classrooms and they mentor little Black boys. How many of these YouTube grifters are mentoring Black youth? How many of them are doing anything like where they can say, hey, I've got 400 girls and we're teaching them how to have self-esteem. I've got 500 boys who don't have fathers, and we're giving them the guidance that their father never gave them. You don't really see that because everybody's so busy feeling like their job is to attack other people. And I just don't know if that's healthy for us, right? So anyway, let me keep going. Let me answer some of your questions. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. If you have not done that yet, let me answer. I'm gonna go to Yvette Carnell's channel and I'm gonna answer some of y'all's questions directly, so you won't think I'm running away from the questions. In fact, I've wanted to talk about it for a long time. I just can't because I have people in my audience that are thinking up on this level and they don't like to see me get petty. And if you're in that category, I hear you. And I promise you, we'll be back to your regular schedule program after this is done. I'm just asking you to let me have a cheat day so I can just kind of go ahead and address some of this. Not about me, though, not about protecting the image of me or whatever. I ain't shit. I don't matter. I'm just a guy. I'm just part of a bigger movement. I'm part of something that's bigger than myself. So people can hate me, attack me, point out my flaws all they want. But as long as you understand that the bigger goal is to support the idea of Black wealth, Black success, Black intelligence, Black excellence. This is why, for example, I can tell you that I invited Yvette Carnell to our first all Black national convention that we had in 2016, the one where we had David Banner and Killer Mike and a lot of other brilliant people there. I invited her, and I invited her to do a debate with me because we disagreed. And I would encourage anybody else out there, if you disagree with somebody, engage in healthy debate. This is one I'm gonna tell you. Robert F. Kennedy. I don't really know much about his background, to be honest with you, but I heard him speak on Lex Friedman's show. And what I liked about what he said is, and I know a lot of people aren't going to get it, because we don't live in a country that really supports intelligent thought. But I like the fact that he was saying that we're supposed to debate. Like, we're not supposed to sit in our silos and just hate each other and throw bombs at each other from across the room. We're supposed to sit down and say, man, you sound crazy over there. What are you talking about? Explain that to me. And then I try to understand where you're coming from. And then you'll try to understand where I'm coming from. But, and that's why, for example, so if you want to know the reality of the whole Yvette Carnell thing, the first thing I did when Yvette was apparently upset with me after I did say that I don't want you on my channel anymore. So maybe that probably sparked it. It was I called and I said, what is going on? Why are you so mad? What did I do to you? And she wouldn't tell me directly, but she will tell you. She'll talk to her YouTube viewers. Boyce is a bad person. I don't like Boyce. Boyce is better. Right? It's like, oh, Lord, here we go. All right. So anyway, let me read some of these questions here. All right. Or comments. Somebody says, I was suspicious of Jay Morrison when he named his real estate fund after Tulsa. I knew he was using past trauma from our community to market it. Plus, he made it sound like only Black people were going to be able to invest in the Tulsa fund. That would be illegal because you can't bar anyone from investing based on race. It was real. There was nothing stopping a venture capital firm with billions of dollars taking control of the share of the fund and make it do whatever they wanted. Okay, this is kind of a rambling comment, but I will say on this comment, I don't think there's anything suspicious about naming something after Tulsa. I sure maybe there are people who utilize the trauma of Black people to make money. For example, Pfizer and Merck and all these people that were trying to sell you those jabs that a lot of liberals were telling you to take without questioning them. They were using the fear of Black people to say, take this shot and we'll protect you, right? So that does happen. There are people that will manipulate emotion. Whether or not this played a part in the naming of the Tulsa Fund, I can't say. I can say, though, if you look at a lot of the things that Jay has said publicly, I encourage you to look at a lot of his public statements. I encourage you to take a look at his YouTube channel or in his Instagram page and just listen. Like, don't comment, don't critique, just listen. You'll hear that he does really care about the Black community. Now, again, I'm not inside his head, inside his heart. I don't know for sure. But if I felt that he didn't care, like I'm gonna tell you the truth again, I stopped working with Yvette because I did not feel that Yvette was doing this for the benefit of anybody other than Yvette. I think that constant attacking, when you're going after people like Dr. Claude Anderson, then you're going after people like Louis Farrakhan, and then next thing you know, you're going after everybody, so many different people. It just kind of made me say, like, what's the goal here? Is the goal to take something that people believe in and to destroy it so you can replace them with yourself? Is there a jealousy? Like, do you have an issue with men? I really think, honestly, I think that I've seen this. I've seen there are some women who just feel like men are, the enemy. I don't know. Maybe there's some therapy that needs to be done. I have no idea. All right. So anyway, let me keep going here. But it's not all men. It's not all men. It's just the men who disagree or the men who have more power or more wealth or whatever. Let's see here. So people will accept the lies from scammers blindly, but question and attack people providing proof about the scam. Boyce saying he was friends with Jay is enough for me to know he shouldn't give anyone economic advice. Well, you know what I would say to that comment is I would like to ask you, not to say this applies to Jay, but what if I judged you based on every mistake, every friend you have ever made? What if I did that? What if I judge you? I'm gonna put some on my legs. Hold on. So ask yourself that question. What if I judge you based on every friend you had who was a hoe, every friend you have who went to jail, every friend you have who you know, oh, hold on, who did something that you didn't know about? What if I did that? What if every single time you had a friend who made a mistake, and let's say it was a big mistake, and I said, "Oh, this proves you were complicit because you said you had dinner with that person, or you said that person was your friend." Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no. Do you think that that makes sense? All right. So let's see here. All right. So that's what I would say to that. I think that to do guilty by association. I mean, just know this has been done for a long time. There are plenty of people. Again, I could say things that I saw with that happened with Yvette, where I could literally use the word scammer to describe those activities. But I'm not sitting here saying that I think that she's a big scammer. I think that she is a person that has a lot of negative energy. A person who wakes up pissed off every morning, a person who is angry at the world for whatever reason. And then I actually talked to a woman who was dating Tone, her partner, and she didn't know that I knew much of him, and I didn't know that they were dating. But she actually said something to me to the effect of, like, she said, "I don't know why he's so obsessed with you." And she said, "I asked him, are you jealous of him or what?" And I was surprised to hear. I said, "Man, you got to pick better women, brother, because she is clearly not loyal. You'll never hear my wife call somebody up and say something like that." So literally, I get it. It's life. People get jealous of each other. And what I'm here to say is that there's nothing about me that should make you jealous. There's nothing about me that should make you envious, because any of these people that have an issue with me, first of all, I've helped them before. Some things I simply cannot do anymore because the trust is not there. But you know, there's no reason why we can't all succeed. And I think that as Black people, this is the challenge of the Negro naysayer. The Negro naysayer, El Malik Shabazz says, Boyce is babbling. Okay, so babbling and double talking. Okay, well, you're babbling a little bit, but I'm gonna put you on the screen. Um, the thing about the Negro naysayer is that the Negro naysayer will always find something negative to say. The Negro naysayer will always find something that represents progress and find something to critique about it. And where I would challenge people like El Malik Shabazz and others is to say to you, what are you doing for the community? What are you doing that's really improved the lives of Black people? Really, what have you done? Like, is it that you told everybody to go vote for Joe Biden? Is that what you thought? Is that what you did when you thought you were doing something good? Did you open up a GoFundMe account that where you're begging people to give you money, where you're giving them nothing in return? Well, if that's the case, then someone could theoretically call you a scammer because you're asking for money and you're not giving anything back. And you could say, well, I never promised them anything. I promised them nothing and I gave them nothing. Well, that doesn't sound much better. But if that's the case, that's fine. But just remember, though, if you're talking about an investment fund, Tulsa Fund, or any other fund, they make it clear in the documents, we're not guaranteeing anything. One of the number one rules of investing is that 9 times out of 10, there's few exceptions, so just a few, you don't guarantee a return. So anybody who thought that the Tulsa Fund guaranteed that your money was going to flip or that you was going to make a major bag and all this other stuff, that was something you put in your head. It's like you bought dinner for a girl and you thought she guaranteed you some ass after the dinner. She didn't guarantee you nothing. You just made that up in your head. Or you slept with a man and you thought he guaranteed he was going to marry you after 2 years of dating him. He didn't guarantee you nothing, right? So ultimately, I'm going to say, again, this is the challenge I would have to those who have gone to the court of Instagram and the court of YouTube to go after the Tulsa Fund. I say level your game up a little bit. Level your game up. Take it if you have an issue, that there are thousands of lawsuits that white people have filed against other white people. With their investment. Right now, Disney's being sued by shareholders. Elon Musk is being sued by shareholders. Right, and all these and in the documents, there's he committed fraud. He committed scam. So people like the Elon Musk and the Jeff Bezoses, they get called scammers and fraudsters every single day of the week. right? And so really what I would say to you is that if you have a legitimate gripe, this is me advocating for you. This is me giving you recourse. If you are an investor and you have a legitimate gripe, you can take things to the court of law. The other thing is there are also investor meetings with the Tulsa Fund where you can ask them all the questions that you want. If you didn't invest, unfortunately, you don't have a ton of credibility because people are going to look at you and say, well, what else are you doing? You know, he's over here trying. Maybe he didn't do it perfect. Maybe he didn't do it perfect, but at least he got the black house out of it. What did you build? What did you create? You know, and I'm gonna tell you, it's always easier. And a lot of y'all are gonna go through this. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a builder, if you're building something for your family, how many builders we got in the building? If you're a builder, say something in the chat. If you're a builder, just know that it's hard to be a builder because you're always gonna get scrutiny from people that are sitting in the peanut gallery and ain't doing nothing, ain't built a damn thing for nobody. But all they do is they know how to destroy. Well, guess what? Gravity is everywhere. It's much easier to tear something down than it is to build something up. Gravity is much more prominent than strength. Gravity is much more prominent than strength. So it's easy to use gravity because all you got to do is knock a hammer against something and knock it down. But strength and strategy requires you to lift the brick up, put the brick on top of another brick, and keep doing that repeatedly, despite the fact that you got people coming along with hammers, knocking the bricks down as you're building them. It's a terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling. You know, so I want to encourage everybody. You know, a lot of you have Negro naysayers in your family. Why'd you quit that job? That little business ain't gonna succeed. Look at you. You got a criminal record. You went to jail. Ain't nobody gonna invest in you when you went to jail. You messed up. You took that customer's money. You messed up the customer service. You a fraud. You a scammer. You ain't gonna succeed. I ain't buying nothing from that nigga. His prices is too high. But we do that to each other. And what I'm saying to you is that I rarely see y'all really doing that with white people. I just don't. I don't. You'll go after a black-owned business that made $250,000, but won't say shit about a white-owned business that made $250 million. Y'all understand? Do you understand that there are white-owned companies that have made more money from black people than every single black-owned business on the planet? Do you understand that? Do you understand that if I was to add up the amount of money that Merck and Pfizer and Moderna made selling jabs to getting black people to take jabs where you don't even know what's in that damn shot, that amount of money exceeds the amount of money that damn near every black-owned business has ever made in history. And y'all going after the small business owner who's just trying to do something good. I'm not saying that all these people are innocent or good. I'm not saying that there aren't people that are doing things incorrectly. I'm not saying that there aren't people who, you know, maybe the authorities need to be alerted, right? I've seen it. I've seen that. Believe me, the scammers have been on my platform. I've let people on my YouTube channel who I felt were scammers. I said, get that person out of here. They're scamming me. But I did not spend my life obsessing and chasing the person down as if they are public enemy number one for the black community. They're not public enemy number one. I got bigger fish to fry. That's one of the reasons why to this day I've never talked about the fact that when I had Yvette and Tone on my channel, I felt cheated. I did. I said, damn, all the stuff I did for them, all the times I helped them pay bills when they were struggling, all the times I came through for them when I didn't even have to. This is what you're doing now. This is what we're doing. We're being 50-year-old teenagers, setting a terrible example for young people. It's crazy to me. So what I'm saying is, the point of the matter is to say that the reason I don't talk about these people on my channel very often is because it doesn't help anybody for me to do that. In fact, I'm being incredibly selfish today. I told you, that's why I asked y'all, I asked my audience, those of you who really give a shit, I asked you, I said, can I have one cheat day? Can I have one day where I can be petty, where I can be as selfish as some of these motherfuckers out here talking crazy on the internet? I just asked, can I have one day where I could just, kind of forget that I'm trying to be something better, that I'm trying to elevate spiritually, and just get in the dirt with some of this so we can sort of address some of this. We can drain the swamp a little bit. Okay. But guess what? After this is done, I'm going to do my best not to respond to it. I saw Kwame Brown do 12 videos in a row that each got probably 50 to 100,000 views, where he was saying the most blatant, most slanderous, bullshit lies about my wife. About my wife, a woman you never met, a woman who never said anything negative about you, a woman who would have felt sorry for you when Michael Jordan was bullying you back when you played in the NBA. And I did not say a word. I did not even watch the videos because I didn't want my fighter instinct to come out. And when I found out he was coming to a conference that I was at, I said, "Why don't you bring him in the room so we can talk to each other man to man and I can look him in the eye?" And because if I look you in the eye, I'm gonna be like, "Brother, what's going on, man? Like, why are you hurting? What's happening right now? You don't even know me. You shout out Dr. Claude Anderson, and he's my father. He's like a dad to me. When he, if he, I hope he lives 100 years. But if Dr. Claude Anderson passed tomorrow, I'd be one of the people that will be speaking at his funeral. And yet you somehow somebody told you that I was your enemy. I don't want to be your enemy, man. So what I'm saying to you is that this stuff, and again, I know this isn't gonna, some people aren't gonna hear it. Some people are gonna find some reason to say something negative. And if they're in the chat, let them chat. Don't I know DDS is in there. I know y'all protecting the platform. I appreciate y'all so much. But don't block them. Don't block them. Don't tell them they can't talk. Um, but I'm just saying, I hope that those who really want what's best for the community to know the difference between people that are at least trying to do their best, no matter how imperfect it may be, versus those that just seek and destroy, seek and destroy, seek and destroy, seek and destroy. I just don't think that that's healthy. All right. Anyway, Business Talk with Kay says, when's the next A, B, and C? I would like to talk to you, sir. You can come. You're invited, man. I'd like to talk to you eye to eye. But it's going to be October 20th in Atlanta. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. I invited Yvette to the first All Black National Convention, and she spoke there, even though we disagreed. And I said, it'd be great. It'd be cool to have a debate. Like, I want to learn from you, and you can learn from me. Right. And we did that. It was in 2016. That was one where Killer Mike and David Banner and all those guys were there. And I just say, look, if we're going to talk, at least let's have the talk in a spirit of productivity and in a spirit of something that can hopefully amount to some type of love or at least agreement to agree to disagree. Like, okay, you go over and you do your thing, I'm gonna do mine. We don't agree, but I don't hate you. Right. I think I've run into people. I was in LA. Let me tell y'all a story, and then I'm gonna go answer some more questions on Yvette's channel. I was in LA and a guy was in the crowd, and I know how to spot people that feel like they're trying to pull up on you and trying to, surprise you and stuff. And they don't understand, like, I ain't shit. I'm not important. Like trying to surprise me and all that stuff, and like, I'm expose you and all that. Whatever. Just don't. I mean, you could do it if you want to, but ain't nothing. I mean, I'm fucked up. I'll admit to that. I'm an imperfect man trying to do something good before I die. That's all I am. Right. But this guy was in the crowd. I was in LA speaking in South Central in that park, Leimert Park. And I could tell he was itching to say something to me. I could tell he was in the crowd. He was waiting to kind of jump out and whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm waiting on this dude to ask a question. And then he raises his hand. He says, I'm a member of ADOS and a proud follower of the Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'd like to address something with you, sir. And when I heard him ask the question, I kid you not, when I heard him say, I'm a proud follower of the Louis Farrakhan, that's when I said, okay, that right there is a contradiction, because apparently you've been misinformed. You're not aware that the leader of the ADOS movement went out of her way to seek and destroy and try to overly attack and dismantle Louis Farrakhan. You do understand that, right? You do understand. So sometimes the leadership will be on some bullshit, but the followers will be misinformed. Or maybe you've only heard one side of the story, so you don't know the whole picture, right? So effectively, when he said Farrakhan and ADOS, I explained to him, I said that, that's a contradiction, right? You do know that the leadership of the ADOS movement, they seem like they really hate Farrakhan, right? So you got to kind of reconcile that with yourself, brother. And I said, on top of that, I'm not going to disagree with anything that you said. I'm just simply going to tell you a couple of things that'll help. And by the time I got done, he said, thank you for answering my question. And he pulled his sign down. Right. And so what I'm saying to you is that sometimes, we just get lied to. Like, we get these demagogue fake leaders out here. And I'm gonna go ahead and say, I think that that's kind of what Yvette was for the ADOS movement, a fake leader, because she had a great movement, a great concept that could have been great, but the leader was not able to rise to the occasion in an appropriate way. ADOS has failed for the most part. A lot of y'all used to call yourselves ADOS. You started calling yourselves FBA. and everybody started going to FBA because you identify much more with Tariq Nasheed. But if you look at the anatomy of the FBA movement and the anatomy of the ADOS movement, you'll conclude that they're kind of the same thing. They're very similar to each other. Foundational Black Americans, American descendants of slaves. Give me a yes if you understand how similar that is. I'm not saying that there's not nuances and slight differences here and there, but they're kind of the same damn thing. Right? ADOS and FBA, I'm like, wait, and even Yvette knows this. I heard Yvette say something like, you stealing my movement, you stealing my movement. And that's your problem right there, lady. You are, or maybe you want me to call you sir. I have no idea. But whatever. Yeah, that's your problem. You are in this like it's some kind of competition. Like this is McDonald's versus Burger King. This ain't Coke versus Pepsi. Like, the movement that you could have made as a leader is to say, okay, how can we find common ground? Because if I get in a fight with Tariq Nasheed, that's not going to help me win because there's a lot of overlap in a lot of our ideas. So then people will be forced to feel they have to make a choice between the two, and it's not going to work in my favor. Okay, it does not mean that there's not something you can't critique about Tariq. Believe me, that's the hard part about unity is that sometimes when you unify with people, you see stuff that you don't like. Like I unify with my wife. I see stuff with my wife all the time where I'm like, oh man, I do not like that. That lady gets on my nerves. But you're not going to hear me talk about it because we're a team. Right. So effectively, I think that would mean that there might be a more appropriate way, a more mature way to handle your differences with Black men or white or Black women or whoever you are disagreeing with than to just lash out and to seek and destroy. I'll give you another example. Louis Farrakhan. I guarantee you that I know Farrakhan. I've sat with him for 2-3 hours. Best conversation I ever had was when I sat with Farrakhan alone for 2.5 hours. Love that man. Love that man. Love that man. But you don't think that I've never in my life ever seen something that happened with the Nation of Islam where I didn't agree with it? You don't think that I saw, Godfather of Harlem and heard different stories from different perspectives about what happened with Malcolm X and kind of wondered like, I wonder what went down there. Yeah, it happens. Sometimes you have stuff that occurs where you're like, I wonder what went down right there. But what you do is you have to decide if the good outweighs the bad. So the reason that you'll never really hear me really attack somebody like a Farrakhan or whomever is because for whatever mistakes might have been made by the minister or by the nation, those mistakes will never even be a fraction of the massive benefits that they've accomplished for the community, the massive respect that I have for what they do. And I encourage everybody else to think this way too. You ain't got to make yourself stupid. You don't have to pretend like the whole Malcolm X conflict didn't exist. But I encourage you, listen to both sides. And then after you hear both sides, kind of decide, does the good outweigh the bad? This idea that our leaders and our movements have to be perfect, this idea that our businesses have to be perfect, this idea that anybody you align with can't have a blemish on their record is the craziest crock of shit I have ever heard in my life. Do you know how many differences and disagreements? Like NFL owners, they all are part of this thing called the NFL. Have you seen how often they disagree and how often they piss each other off? But they understand that if we stick together and maintain this $100 billion bag called the NFL, we're all going to be better off than we would have been if we were making every tiny difference into a molehill. So here's what I'm going to say. Again, let's circle back to the Jay Morrison and Tulsa Fund and all that. Look, if you got an issue with the Tulsa Fund, there is the court of law. You can take it to court, not the court of Instagram. The court of Instagram has no jurisdiction anywhere, but you can take it to the court of law. If you're a shareholder, you can go to their shareholder meetings. They will give you full information, talk you through it. It's not inconceivable that the fund could be losing money. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they're not losing money. Maybe they are, right? But losing money does not make a business fraudulent. I'm not saying they're not fraudulent. I'm not saying that they've done everything by the book. I don't know. I haven't seen all the details. I'm not the judge and jury and executioner here. But I need you to understand that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of businesses out here that are not in the Black community that lose money, go bankrupt, whatever. and they don't have to deal with 1/3 of the headaches that Black business owners have to deal with. And I just think that it's wrong, it's unfair, and I think that if you don't like something, then build something better. Go build something better, and then say, here are the problems with what they did. Here's what we created that's better. Like Tone, I think Tone, Yvette's partner, is a lawyer. Well, go do some goddamn law, Negro. Like, go out and create something. Create something that people. I'll invest. Like, I'll support you too. Even though we disagree. Like, if it's a fair deal and it makes sense, I'll give some support. It may not be a ton of money, but I'll throw in my little 2 cents, right? Because you got to learn how to look at the big picture. If y'all never learn how to look at the big picture, Black people, y'all gonna have some major problems. All right, so anyway, let me go back to answering some questions. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm having a cheat day where I'm being extra petty, and I'm sure I'm ruining the rest of my reputation. Whatever hasn't been ruined so far, I'm ruining the rest because I'm definitely but you know what? At the end of the day, I've never been scared of the white man, and I'm not scared of petty Negroes either. So if this kind of thing works for you, then stick around. If it doesn't work for you, then it's okay. You can go. And I'm going to answer some more questions on Yvette's platform because I think these are good questions. Somebody says, apparently to attract our people and to invest in ADOS, Yvette and Tone have to rent Bugattis and mansions, dress up in Chanel, and raise the Black power fist. I bet if Yvette grew black hair locks, more of our folks would join the ADOS and donate. No, I think the ADOS was destroyed because of bad leadership. That's just the truth. I think that Yvette's pettiness, small-mindedness, desire to attack as many Black people as possible, that's what destroyed ADOS. I think that if she had kind of like chilled out and spent more time maybe attacking real enemies, white supremacy, attack Republicans, whatever, which she does that too. She kind of, if you watch her channel, like, don't believe me, just go watch the tone of her messaging. It tends to be very negative, and she's not a stupid person, though. I mean, if she were stupid, I never would have worked with her. I think she's very smart, but unfortunately, there's some sort of emotional damage there, and you kind of see it. Like when you kind of see her disposition tends to be very like, I'm pissed off today, and here's why I'm mad, and that makes me concerned about like mental health. That makes me just kind of say, gosh, why is she so unhappy all the time? And that's where the therapist needs to come into play. All right, so let's keep going. Let's see. Somebody says Boyce can't use the PhD. I can. I use it all the time. They don't take those away. It only allows you to teach on the collegiate level. No, actually, that's not true. I teach children too. I've taught thousands of children about wealth and investing. BlackMillionairesOfTomorrow.com, or actually, if you want to check out FinancialFlashcards.com. We teach kids all the time financial workbooks. That we have workbooks for kids. So no, actually, if you look at things like the $5 a day investing plan, you'll see that that's something you can actually teach to a 4-year-old. And one of the things that we believe in the Black Business School is that we should train our children on wealth and investing at an early age so that they can get ahead economically. This is what attracted the Yvettes and other people to me, is because they know that I'm good at what I do. I'm just good at it. I'm not a perfect person. I screw up all the time. This morning, y'all saw me screw up with my cameras. I was standing there and trying to fix the cameras because I fucked up the technology. But so I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect by any stretch. But I am a person who is doing his best. That's it. That's all I can promise you. I can't promise you perfection. I can promise you that I will do my best. All right, so let's keep going. Let's see here. Let's see. He has no practical experience working in the finance field. That's not true. I mean, I've had businesses for a while, but I did. I can say that I did notice when I got my job at Syracuse University. I didn't get my first job till I was 31. So you're kind of right about that. I didn't. I'd worked at GE, and I learned a long time ago when I got my dream job that there's no such thing as a dream job. And so after doing that job at GE, I kind of decided I wasn't going to work for anybody. So I got my first job at Syracuse University. I joined the faculty when I was 31 years old after I finished my PhD. And then when I was there, I did notice that a lot of finance PhDs don't know the real world. They don't know how to actually make real money and stuff like that. And that was part of my desire to leave and go into the real world. So most of my business, though, I wrote books. My first book was Everything You Ever Want to Know About College. Then I wrote What If George Bush Were a Black Man? I wrote Financial Lovemaking. I wrote Black American Money. All these books are on Amazon. And so most of my experience in terms of business is from running my businesses in that regard, and also investing. That's my experience. So in terms of working in corporate finance, no, I did not do that. I don't want to work on the corporate plantation. And also I sent students to Wall Street, but I've never worked on Wall Street. So you are right about that point. But it doesn't mean my PhD has no validity, because we've developed in the Black Business School an extensive library of specific financial solutions for the Black community that we know are very effective. For example, even those who don't like me or don't agree with me, if you text the word stock to 31996, I'll send you something for free. I want to give a free gift to every adversary, every person who thinks I'm full of shit. There's something called a $5 a day investing plan, and I created it, and I owe Yvette Carnell a thank you because she's one of the reasons that I created this plan. One of the challenges I had with Yvette, we did this movie years ago called Democracy, a Black American horror story. And that was honestly another situation where I was very upset because I invested a lot of money to make this movie because I told you guys I believe Black people should have our own movie industry. And Yvette was in the movie. And I said, Yvette, I'd like for you to be in the movie. And the problem, though, was because I was thinking about Noam Chomsky, how he's a thinker in the white community. I said, Yvette, I think you can be kind of a thinker in the Black community. So I respect her intelligence. I'm not sitting there saying she's stupid. I just think she's a little toxic and negative and has some emotional issues. But anyway, so she's in the movie, and when I saw the final reel, Madam President helped shoot the movie, and I saw the final reel, and I said, Lord Jesus, she is so negative. She's constantly telling Black people that they can't do anything. I felt like she's telling Black people that you need the government. You can't build any wealth. You don't have no assets. How you gonna build wealth when you ain't got nothing? And I said, if people watch this movie the way it is, they're gonna want to jump off a building and kill themselves. Like, they're literally going to just be so depressed. And if you watch again, watch the tone. Unfortunately, the tone is that you got to stop being so negative. You got to start talking about solutions. You can't just be like, negative, negative, negative. So anyway, what I did was I said, let me go in and let me shoot some reels so I can give solutions so that we don't walk away assuming Black people are so stupid and ignorant and broke that we can't do anything for ourselves without the help of white people. And so when I put myself in the movie, I guess Yvette didn't like it, and Yvette decided she didn't want to be part of the project anymore, which was upsetting to me because I put the money up. She didn't put any money up. I put all the money up, and I lost my money off this project. And so that's another thing. If you ever want to know why things didn't work out, that was another thing. I'd never told that story before. Anyway, long story short, I created the $5 a day investing plan because I got sick and fucking tired of hearing Black people say that Black people can't afford to invest. I got tired of hearing people say, Black people ain't got no money. Black people ain't got no wealth. Black people can't build. And these are from people that have no experience in finance. They don't. I'm sitting there saying, Lord Jesus, I got a PhD in this stuff. I've studied this stuff for 30 years. I've taught at the University of Kentucky, Indiana University, Syracuse University, the Ohio State University. I've taught in China. I've studied wealth cultures around the world. I'm telling you, you've got 1.6 trillion in spending that you throw away every year and that you give to white people. If you invested just a fraction of the money that you make that you give away, you would be rich. You would have an extra trillion in wealth within 10 years. And so I created the $5 a day investing plan specifically to show what would happen if you took $5 a day. $5 will not even afford a McDonald's value meal. It cannot afford a Popeye's chicken value meal. And that's why I picked it. Because if you argue to me that Black people can't afford to invest, then what you're saying is that Black people can't afford McDonald's and Black people can't afford Popeye's chicken. And we know that those things are not true. Give me a yes if you understand, if you agree with me that Black people can afford plenty of Popeye's chicken because we make them rich. They make a $10 billion bag every year or whatever they make from the Black community alone, eating a bunch of shit you shouldn't be eating anyway. So the $5 a day investing plan shows that any family that invests $5 a day, a 4-year-old could do this, or a 2-year-old monkey could do this. And all of you are smarter than monkeys. If they invest $5 a day, then within 10 years, based on the history of the S&P 500, if they put it in S&P 500 stocks, not some altcoin, not Dogecoin, not that tiny little penny stock. I'm talking about S&P 500 companies. I'm talking about the GMs, the Teslas, the Microsofts, the Apples. If you did $5 a day, in 10 years, you'd have approximately $29,000 liquid. Now you're not poor anymore. Most Americans don't have $29,000 liquid. I'm not talking about catching up with white people. I'm talking about passing them up. I'm not talking about equality. I'm talking about excellence. I'm not talking about trying to integrate. I'm talking about trying to elevate. I believe we are chosen. I believe that we can be higher and stronger than anybody else. So if you do that after 10 years, you have approximately $29,000, give or take a couple thousand. After 20 years, you have about $102,000, give or take 10 or 20,000. If you after 30 years you do this, you have almost $250,000. Now it's not precise. It's not precise at all. But what it does show is that there's a direct, simple, easy path from poverty to wealth that is available to 99% of the families out here. So I'm not the guy who's going to sit around, for example, and buy into some of these silly political arguments like we need to fight for voter ID laws because most black people don't know how to get an ID. That's stupid to me. That doesn't make any sense. Most of y'all know how to get a driver's license or some type of ID if you need one. If you don't know how, email me. I can show you how to get an ID. Right? I think those are wasted battles. But something like this is a battle worth fighting. Something like this is worth fighting because I said to myself, if I can convince just 10, 20, 30,000 families to do this, I'm flipping generational wealth on its head by $100 billion, maybe even a trillion. That's it. So if you text the word stock to 31996, I will send you the $5 a day investing plan for free. Just text stock to 31996. And I say this with all due respect to everyone, even those of you who came here just because you hate me so much. Even those of you that think I'm a piece of shit, think I'm a scumbag, think believe every not thing that whatever Yvette or whoever said. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I just want to see you do better. Because I believe that if the black community is doing better economically, if we as a people are winning on a more consistent basis, then we don't have so many people that are getting mad when they think somebody else is winning. Again, it's so, and I say this also, and I gotta go. I got a meeting in a minute. Thank you for letting me have my cheat day. I appreciate you letting me be petty for a minute and talk about this and tell the truth. But this is without regard to whatever people think about the Tulsa Fund and everything else. I mean, again, if you have an issue, take it to the court of law, go to the investor meetings or whatever. If you didn't invest, then find something you believe in and invest with it. Remember, if you don't like a black owned business, that does not mean you have to destroy the business. If you don't like a black entrepreneur and the way he does business, that does not mean he has to become public enemy number one and the source of your obsession for the next 20 years. You can just support a different black owned business. That's my appeal to you, and I hope that you're hearing me. I hope that some people can hear me. I know some people won't. I know some people are going to say it, whatever they're going to say, and that's fine. Bless you. But I think at the end of the day, man, we got to do better, black people. So that's my 2 cents. That's my truth on my experience with Yvette Carnell. That's why, honestly, I would talk to her personally. If Yvette ever called me and said, Boyce, we need to talk directly, I would talk to her. I don't have any problem. I have nothing. Yvette knows what happened. Yvette knows what I did for her. Yvette knows about that first email she sent me or Facebook message, actually, where she asked me to share her article. She knows all the times, she used my channel and didn't pay me a nickel to use it. She knows about these things, and I think it's disingenuous and more directly, like I can come back from that. I can come back from being betrayed or whatever. That's fine. I'm going to be fine with that. But what I do think was missed for the community was that there was a movement called the ADOS movement that was doing really well, that a lot of people wanted to rally behind, that is effectively dead because the leaders never took the time to learn how to effectively lead. I'm gonna tell y'all, look, if somebody ever says Boyce is full of it, Boyce is crazy, um, you need to say yes, he absolutely is, because I know that I have issues. I know that I was raised in some tough circumstances. My wife helped me understand that I was abused as a kid. I didn't even know that. That's how bad it was. And I see a therapist every Thursday. I'm just full disclosure. I talk to my therapist. And the reason I talk to my therapist every week is because I said I want to see my blind spots. I really want to see the areas where I can do better because I got an opportunity from God to really influence a lot of people's lives, to make people's lives better. And I want to do this to the best of my ability. And I really want to show up as a man in the best way possible for the people that depend on me, that look to me, right? And so that's the goal. That's why I talk to the therapist, not because I'm in pain or I'm depressed or anxious. I'm very happy with my life, but I see a lot of ego that happens on these YouTube streets. I see a lot of people that they get a couple followers and they suddenly think that it's their job to go seek and destroy every person out here, creating artificial beefs just so they can get more views, so they can make more money for their channel. And I get it. It's just entertainment. That's just what it's going to be. But I'm going to say that after you finish doing all that stuff, after you finish doing the childish stuff, I'd like for us to do some grown-up stuff. So after you finish telling me what's wrong with what he's building, I need you to flip the conversation and talk about what you're building. And also, I'm not going to do to you what you're trying to do to him. I'm not going to criticize what you're doing. I'm going to let you be, or I may support you. If I don't want to support you, I'll just walk away from you. That's the choices that you have. You don't have to pick a black business and make that the source of your obsession for the next 30 years when there's so many white businesses that are making so much more money from the Black community. I hope you get what I'm saying. Give me a yes if you follow what I'm saying. I'm trying to be as honest as possible as I say this, and I hope that this makes sense. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. And I promise you, when I come back, I'll be talking about something totally different. I'm not going to circle back on this issue at all. I've talked about it once. It's over. It's done. If you want to, somebody, when y'all mentioned the thing with Corey Holcomb, Corey and I squashed that. Go to Willie D's channel. We did a video, and 300,000 people got to see two Black men admit that they were wrong and admit that we're better off being friends than being enemies. And so now I will say nothing negative about Corey Holcomb. He is my friend now, and I'm very, very proud of that. And I hope that I've helped some of you understand that conflict resolution is one of the keys to us really elevating and becoming a better group of people. All right. So anyway, guys, that's it. That's my 2 cents. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe before you go. My website is boycewatkins.com. As you guys know, I had some trouble with my Instagram page. That's what happens when you read Dr. Claude Anderson books out loud. But my new Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. So feel free to follow me at Dr. Boyce Finance. And also, last but not least, and this is true for anybody that wants to learn wealth, you can text. This is free. Just text the word stock to 31996. I'll send you some profit alerts, stocks that I believe in, stocks that I'm buying. I'll also send you the $5 a day investing plan and a training that I did on how to make money without working. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. Sorry about the technical difficulties in the beginning. I got to start testing my audio and video before I get started. I learned a lesson today. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.